welcome to LA Photo Party's From Pitch to Party Facebook Live webinar. Thanks so much for joining us. I'm Brian Miller. I'm the owner of LA Photo Party.
Hi, I'm Chad Coe, and I'm the head of product sales for LA Photo Party.
We're coming to you live from our new headquarters in Glendale, California. We're super excited about this new facility. One of the things that's so awesome about it is the space to bring you this high-quality, interactive, educational content. It's part of the LA Photo Party mission statement to help out our users by delivering helpful educational content like this. And we're so excited you could join us for this first webinar from the new location.
Yeah, we're going to be going through a lot of fun things, guys. And if you guys are still filling out the survey, continue to finish it up real quick. There's going to be a lot of checklists of things we're going to go over and help you out today.
Yeah, that survey is meant to create a benchmark, a baseline of data for where you're at compared to where you want to be. And we're going to run you through all the different pieces that the survey covers as we're going through the webinar. And so having done that survey before we jump into the webinar, it's going to help you know where to focus your attention as we move through the different topics. It takes about 1 minute to do, so if you haven't done the survey yet, that's okay. Take that survey real quick at laphotoparty.com/survey. It only takes about 1 minute, and it'll help you get the most possible out of this webinar.
Yeah, what did we get on the survey, Brian? Was it confidential?
No, I mean, the cool thing about the survey is even if you don't get 100%, that's okay. We work off that survey. It's a checklist that we use as a self-assessment tool on a regular basis here, and we usually score in the mid-80s or so, so we have work to do. I'm sure you have work to do, and that's okay.
Yeah, and some exciting news, guys. We're going to do a flash sale at the end of this, which we've never really done before, and for the Infinite, well, we'll tell you what's going to happen in a little bit, but we're going to do one for the Infinite and for photo booth upload. Yeah,
so a great opportunity to snag what's been known as the Swiss Army knife of photo booth software for a super discount, and also an Infinite if you're in the market to get the award-winning Best Photo Booth of 2016 Infinite at a great price.
Nice. And guys, any questions, go ahead and type them live. We're going to have David Miller answering questions for you, and we're going to do a little Q&A section at the end.
Yeah, one more tip, and then we're going to jump in. If you are on your mobile phone, you're going to see a lot of things popping up at the bottom. You can swipe right to get those out of the way so that you can view the comments below this webinar. I'm ready to jump in. How you feeling?
I'm feeling real good.
Let's do it. All right, so we're going to be covering a lot of topics, and we've broken them down into 3 main categories here for the webinar today. All of this is about creating efficient systems and processes within your organization so that you can save money by automating things, creating systems that are efficient, and so it gives you the framework to always improve upon what's going on. So the 3 main topics we're going to be working on, the first one is pitch. That's your sales pitch to your customers. Next, we're going to be talking about preparing for your event, both preparing your staff and your clients. And then last, we're going to jump in to how to have an awesome activation at your party.
Cool. So one of the overall things that we talk about here at LA Photo Party, one of our mottos is POV. And what that is we want to make it personal, okay? We want to know our clients' objectives, their goals, and then finally we want to make it visual for them.
Yeah, this is like an LA Photo Party mantra, so you're going to see as we're going through all of the slides today and the information, we're going to be referring back to POV. Keep that in the back of your mind and do some thinking about how you can apply those 3 principles into your own business.
Yeah, another big mantra when we're talking to our clients and different event planners is our main objective is to make you look good. It's so important for us to make them look good for their client.
That's right. And one of the ways we do that is by always listening to our customers. And so we say that any conversation you have with a client should include 80% of the client speaking and 20% of the time is you pitching to them. So this might sound a little reverse because you have so many cool features you want to tell them about, but really understanding your customers' needs, their goals and objectives, the O in POV, is really going to help you to form a relationship and deliver the product and service that is the best fit for your customers' needs.
Yeah, and it's such an important point. We're going to be bringing up listening a lot in this, so just really take that note if you take anything from this. But to get it in, we're talking about being an industry expert for your client when you're talking to them. And one of the big things to do that is to know the products that you're selling. For us, it's the different features of photo booth upload with the Infinite booth, whether it's morphing or green screen or animated GIF or light painting, is knowing those products and being able to sell them.
Yeah, you can't sell a product that you don't know inside and out. So your software may have a ton of features in it. I highly recommend if there's a feature you want to start selling that you use it first. So that might mean throwing an event for your friends and family to get usable samples, something so that you field tested that feature and you can explain it to a customer and feel confident selling it. Another great little tip here is to be an expert in the photo booth industry as well. And the reason for that is, you know that the customer you're talking to on the phone is likely calling your competitors and getting price bids from them as well. If you're an expert in the industry and you know the strengths and weaknesses of other players in your market, that's going to help you to be able to answer your clients' objections and speaks wisely about trends and other things going on in the industry. So some great tools to help you become a photo booth industry expert. If you're not doing it already, become a member of the Photo Booth Network on Facebook, and you can build relationships and learn tips and tricks from other people in the market. And also Photo Booth Talk is a great resource online to get engaged with the photo booth community.
Yeah, absolutely. And the last thing in this section is become an expert in the client's industry, right? What are they talking about? The lingo that they're saying. We're going to talk in a little bit about things like deck, or things like different things that they're going to bring up, and who's their client? Where are they coming from? Because we want to put yourselves in the shoes of the client so that they know exactly what they want.
Let's take a specific example at what we're talking about here. So many photo booth industries are trying to figure out how to get into the corporate market, and the first thing is to understand the language that our corporate clients speak. And so here's a specific example. So Coca-Cola might decide that they want to put on an ad campaign. So they might hire a marketing agency and tell the marketing agency as part of the campaign they want to throw a party, and the marketing agency then needs to hire the vendors. So you are the photo booth vendor for the marketing agency that the brand brought on board to put on their marketing campaign.
Cool. Let's jump into the different type of pitches we have. This is kind of exciting, guys. We have 4 different type of pitches to get into. The first one's going to be cold pitch. Basically what that is you're going to contact new clients that you haven't have a relationship yet. And this can be a little scary, but it's going to be really important to talk about.
Yeah, so then the second kind of pitch is the inquiry pitch. That's when someone fills out a web email form, or they pick up the phone and call you. So it's someone you haven't had prior communication with, but now they're inquiring about your products or services.
Great. The next one is going to be the refresh pitch. What this is you're going to your client base, your old clients, ones that you already have a relationship with, and you're going to pitch them again.
Yep, and then the last one we're going to be spending some time looking into is the momentum pitch. And so that's where you're upselling to an active client. Great. Let's jump in on the first one, the cold pitch. Yep. So the cold pitch, the first thing you're going to want to figure out is, who do you want to target? And so you're going to create a target list. And so what I challenge you to do is ask yourself, if you could have any 20 new customers, who would they be? And go ahead and make a list of those 20 marketing agencies, party planners, whoever it is in your community, and put it up on a dry erase board, and that becomes your target list.
Yeah, and what you want to do is you want to make a plan with this, right? You don't want to just Google and try to find people and then start calling right away. You really want to think this out. And some of the things that help is writing a script. We're not telling you to read off of a script, because at the end of the day, you got to sound like a human on the phone with these people. You want to practice. The more you do this, the more you kind of embrace rejection and just get through all the no's, the better it's going to be for you.
Yeah, and speaking of practice, we actually have a procedure we do here called the hot seat, where we make our sales staff sit in the hot seat and do a role play where they are practicing their cold pitch. And part of that plan is the second and third and fourth contact they're going to make with the customer, because we know that the first call, they might not get a yes right away. That's part of what you're planning for.
Yeah, and you want to make sure that you're tracking all your calls, right? You're writing down how many times you contacted them. You're discussing any highlights. If they told you that they had a daughter's recital that they were going to, you want to remember that, because at the end of the day, you want to make it personal, and you hopefully want to build a relationship with these people so that they become your friends and you have a client for life.
That's right. And then lastly, always follow up.
So important.
It's so important. We're going to take a look deeper into that. So always follow up is the last step there in being prepared. You're going to know that you're going to need to be following up on that. And let's take a look at how important that follow-up is. So what you're seeing here on the screen is a graph put out by Harvard Business Review, and it shows that by just making a few more call attempts, sales reps can experience a 70% increase on contact rates. So it really is showing how important it is. One thing you'll see here is that most sales on this chart show success rates on the 4th, 5th, and 6th call. So don't be expecting success necessarily on call 1, 2, and 3. You're planning to make call 4, 5, and 6 before you've ever made the first call.
Yeah, and I think that one of the golden rules here is just put yourself in their shoes. I mean, how many times have you been invited to something, and the first time you probably didn't get ready to go or buy the ticket. It was the third or fourth or fifth time somebody told you about something that you ended up doing. So just think like the client, and it'll help you guys out a bunch.
Yeah, so let's take a look at the next kind of pitch, the
Cool.
inquiry pitch. So remember, that's where a customer has filled out a web form, or they picked up the phone and call you, someone you have never had contact with, they found you online and they're reaching out to you. And the main thing they're trying to suss out in the first few seconds of calling you if you're legit or not. And so you have to be ready for answering the questions they're going to be asking while they're trying to figure out, is this vendor legit or not?
Right, and this is where your preparation meets opportunity, right? And it's basically a gift that people are reaching out to you, and if you're not ready for it, then you can miss out on that gift. And so having those answers ready, and we're going to talk about the different questions that these clients are going to have when they're calling, and kind of break it down for you.
Yeah, so the first thing they're trying to figure out is this person I'm calling professional? Are they a legitimate professional player in the photo booth industry? So before you ever answer the phone, they're going to start answering that question in their own head based on what does the phone call sound like. So have a professional phone system in place, and if you don't have the resources to have a networked phone system in your office, at least use something like Google Voice so that they don't feel like they're calling a cell phone.
Yeah, and you want to make sure to use the same correct terminology. And we talked about this in the industry expert section, but whether they're asking for the deck or they're talking about their end user or metrics, you need to understand what these things are. And Brian, tell me a little bit about what is a deck and what to expect with that.
Yeah, so a deck's a term used a lot by marketing agency. It basically is a single document that outlines the services that the company offers in one place. It's usually a PDF document with graphics, although nowadays there are some online tools to do decks online as well, and that allows you to show animated GIFs and videos, which you obviously can't do in a PDF.
And the important thing here is that it's okay to be wherever you're at. If you're just starting out in the business, or if you've been doing it for years and you're doing 100 events a month, it doesn't matter. But if you're just starting out, one of the things we say here is fake it till you make it. And that doesn't mean being dishonest. It means act as if you're already working with corporate clients. What do those people do? Do you have a mentor? We're giving you a lot of these kind of keys to the kingdom here and helping you out. But we had to learn them ourselves or ask people that were ahead of us.
Yep, and so another thing that the person inquiring about your services is going to be trying to figure out is, do you understand their goals? That's so important. It goes back to the O in POV. And so the easiest way to get this one right is to simply ask them on that first call at the beginning of the call, hey, what are your goals for this event? And if their goal is to get as many guests at their party through the activation as possible, versus if their goal is to get as many social media impressions as possible, what you pitch to them is going to be different.
Yeah, and what helps with their goals is maybe something you've done in a past event that's a similar theme. But if you don't listen to what they're saying, then you're not going to be able to pull from that, or come up with something creative, fun for them. Because sometimes a lot of these people are just stressed. They're trying to get this event done. They don't have the imagination, but you're their savior. You're the person that's going to help them have a successful event.
Yeah, so the next thing that this person inquiring about your services is trying to figure out on this first call is, can we collaborate together? Or said it another way, are we a good fit for each other? Do you get my style, and can we work well together? And so what I really recommend for addressing this issue is to try and find a point of connection on that phone call that is not related to the job you're discussing. So this is about a personal human-to-human relationship that you're cultivating on the call. And so that's about asking where they're from, where they're calling, any tidbits that they give you about their life, things they're interested in. Those are really important to remember, that you're talking to a real person here and you're building a relationship with them, and you want to make a good working relationship that's going to be the foundation for jobs into the future.
Right, and then finally, it's like, do they fit inside my budget, right? This is something that could be kind of scary at first, but you really need to have confidence here. Confidence in yourself, what you charge, and you want to excite the client before discussing the prices, because they need to be sold before you get to the point where you're talking money.
Yep, and another great tip that we use is we have a menu of features with a variety of price points, and this means that we can appeal to a broader market regardless of what their budget is. And so I recommend that you have a menu of features that you offer with a range of prices.
And talking back to that confidence, you have to accept that not everyone can afford you, and that's going to be okay.
Yep, and so it's really vital that after you get an inquiry, whether it's from a web form or if they leave you a voicemail, it's super important that you're able to respond immediately. And by immediately, I literally mean within 5 minutes. Let's take a look at the data on this. So this graph here shows a 400% decrease in the odds of qualifying a lead after just 5 minutes. So that means that if you wait between 5 minutes and 10 minutes to call this person back or respond to their email, your chances of success with this customer drop off the ledge, as you can see in the chart.
Yeah, and once again, put yourself in the shoes of the client. If you wanted to do something, if you had a party and somebody didn't call you back within the hour or right away, what would you feel about that person? Would they be a professional? Would you want to work with them?
Well, and of course the other thing is this person's got a checklist of things they need to do for their event. Hiring a photo booth company is just one of them. So if they call you and you don't answer, they need to check that item off their to-do list. They're going to call the next photo booth company
or somebody's calling
on the
them.
list. Exactly. So getting back to them immediately helps you be the first one in the door with them, and that helps seal the deal. Let's take a look at the next kind of pitch, the refresh pitch, as we call it. And the refresh pitch is all about taking past customers who you've worked with before and staying fresh in their mind.
Yeah, and this is one of our favorite things that we do because you've already built up the relationship with these people, right? You know, whether you met them at a cold call or they reached out to you with an inquiry pitch, but you're reaching back out to them. They already like you. They've already given you money. You've done a successful event with them, hopefully, and now you're reaching back out and you're looking to do that next event.
Yeah, and so there's a lot of different tools you can use to stay in front of these past customers and keep them updated on what's going on with your business. E-blasts are a great way to do this. Social media posting is a great way to do this. But I really like the personalized approaches, like personal emails where it's not an e-blast, but you've come across something that you know relates to this customer because you had made a connection point with them previously, and you're sharing information that may have nothing to do with a job that you're trying to pitch them on, but it's just something to stay in touch with them and keep you fresh in their mind.
Yeah, and I want to piggyback that for a second. Anytime that you can be talking to these people of something other than give us your money or selling to them and building that relationship is golden. You know, really, embrace that relationship. And, one of the ways we do that is with thank you gifts. We'll send holiday gifts to them and just share a little of the gratitude for working with them and helping us out.
Yeah, and of course, picking up the phone and giving them a call is fine to do, especially if you have something to share with them. We always try and schedule private demos. Yeah. Anytime we have a new feature, we try and go to the client's office. We found that that's the most effective way for them to feel, touch, and see what it is that our new feature can do for them. And then holiday gifts, like you can see here, is a great way to stay in touch with the customer.
And the final pitch that we have here out of the 4 is the momentum pitch. This is when you're already working with a client and you're trying to make the most of that relationship. And there's a lot of ways you can do this. Designing a list of upsells. We talked about that menu list before. Offering branding, especially for corporate clients, is important.
Yeah, so when we say offering branding, we're talking about adding value to the customer. They might not know that you offer things like vinyl wrapping photo booths or custom stands, sharing tablet stands, custom graphic design. These are all things that are a benefit to the customer and a benefit to you because it's going to help raise the price point on that invoice. We actually charge for our sharing packages. That's not included in our base price. So printing and sharing packages is something you can add in. You could charge for data capture. And so all of these things are something you'll pitch to a customer once you already have them on the hook for an event. And then the last thing is finding out what is on their horizon. So before you're even done with one event, you're starting the conversation about the next event.
Yeah, and the famous thing my mom would always tell me was ask for the second date when you're on the first date.
And so, how's that working out for you, Chad?
Let's go to the next slide.
Okay, next slide. And so what are you trying to do in a pitch? You're trying to seal the deal. That's really what we're talking about here. So one of the most effective ways to get your what you're selling to the customer in front of the decision maker is sending compelling samples. So what I mean by that is personalized samples made for the activation that you've been discussing with the branding of the end client. Because think about it, if you're talking to a marketing agency, you want to get your samples to their end client, the decision maker. And if you include the end client's branding in the customized graphics like you can see on the screen now, they're way more likely to pass that along. Why? Because it makes them look good. They're probably not going to tell their customer that you made those samples. They're probably going to take credit for it. And you know what? that's fine. That's part of your objective that we talked about at the beginning of the presentation.
Yeah, and the other thing is they're going to remember that. They're going to remember that extra mile you went for. They're going to remember that you made them look good, and people love to see themselves in their own brand. I mean, this is the P and the POV we were talking about before.
Yeah, and let's go on to some other things you can do to help you seal the deal. One is if your company allows your sales reps to negotiate, you got to make sure your sales rep understand what their bottom line is, how low they can go, and in order to do that, you have to make sure they understand the target margin they're supposed to be reaching, and to do that, you got to make sure your sales reps know the margin for each product that they sell.
Yeah, and some important questions your salesperson or yourself can ask are what will it take to close this now? And I think there's a theme here. Asking questions and listening is, I think we're hitting it quite a few. And also, who else is looking at that? Who's the competition? Because once you know the competition, you know how to sell against the competition.
Sure, and definitely understanding if the person on the other end of the phone is the final decision maker or not will change the way you guide the conversation. So that's really important. So moving on, another guiding philosophy for us in sealing the deal is we know that we're a high-end, higher-priced photo booth company than a lot of our competitors here in our market, and we're okay with that. And so we have a response ready to go that we believe in when our customer says to us, why are you more expensive than the photo booth company down the street? And the thing we always say is that we compete on features, creativity, and service, not on price. And so what I mean by that is we can say to the customer, hey, you're not comparing apples to apples when you say we charge more, because we're offering a completely different service. For example, we've shown you the level of service you're going to receive throughout this entire interaction we have, because we called you back within 5 minutes, and we've been there for you following up on a regular basis. We've gotten you customized samples. Customized samples show the amount of creativity we're bringing to the table to elevate your event. And we're coming to you with features that our competitors don't even have. Let me show you an example here. So we always like to say that our competitor might be offering a simple photo strip for an event. Let's say it's an event with a basketball theme. We're going to come at you with a creative idea with awesome features that's going to make it look like the guest is slam dunking a basketball as an animated GIF. Or let's say we're hired by Sharknado. We're going to be slicing that shark right through there for a super interactive experience. And that brings me back, the word experience is so important here. We're not selling a photo, we're selling an experience, and because of that, we can charge more for it.
Yeah, and just to piggyback that real quick, it's about going the extra mile. You know what I mean? If everybody in the industry is doing one thing, you can always do a little bit more, but you have to know what everybody else is doing in order to do that.
Great. So we're about to move into the next part of our webinar, but I just want to remind you, you can type in questions in the comment section, and we're going to be addressing those at the end here. So go ahead and type in any questions you have. We also have David Miller live replying to questions as well. So you came up with a creative idea, you pitched it, they signed the contract.
You did it.
Congratulations.
Yay.
You're not done yet, though.
Oh, we're not.
So
cool.
The preparation begins now. So you got to prep both your client, believe it or not, and your staff. Let's look at the client prep first.
Yeah, so one of the nuggets we're going to give you guys today is this client overview doc. This is what we've taken from like years of miscommunication and finding issues here and there, and we found out a way to put everything in one area so that you can alleviate all those miscommunications and all the issues that might arise.
Yep, so the event overview doc is an online document. It's essentially a website made for the customer so they can see all of their event details in one space, so they can't come back to you later and say, I didn't know about a deadline, for example. Let's take a look at the kinds of things we keep on our event overview doc. So one is we communicate our equipment and space needs to the client. We communicate all of our deadlines, for example, social media settings, graphics that the client might be providing. That's all on there. We show samples of what the final output, what we're going to be producing on site for them. There's samples there so they can see that and share those. We track payment progress so they can see whether we've received their deposit or not. We gather all event information like where to park and unload and who the on-site contact is. And lastly, we include our upsell menu. You've heard us refer back to our upsell menu a few times now. Again, that's one more touch point where the client has an opportunity to add value to their invoice.
Yeah, and I just want to bring up on the upsell menu is that, when you're looking at events through the course of the year, if you look at one event and just adding one, slideshow or one tablet stand, it doesn't seem like a lot. But when you add it up over the course of the year, you're looking at thousands of dollars that might be make or break your year.
Yep, that money's sitting on the table. The client wants the branding opportunities to help them to help you. So let's take a look. We're going to show you what our client overview doc looks like. So we're going to pull that up on the screen for you right now, and you're going to see it scroll there. And what you'll notice is there's sections on it for each of the main things that your client might want to see. They can hide those sections that they're not interested in looking at that time. And it's all a clean, concise page that's branded for us. So that's a really great tip that took us a long time to figure out. We're giving you guys that knowledge to give you a head start. And help you out. So hopefully that's a great tip to help your company as well.
Cool. Well, should we jump into staff prep here?
Let's take a look.
Yeah. So one of the big things here is to make sure that you have a backup plan in place for everything, right? Anything that could possibly go on. Because at the end of the day, you don't want to refund your client. That is the main objective. You want to create a great experience and not ever have to do that.
Sure. So let's take a look at what we do to be prepared for the unexpected on site. So one is we send all of our on-site event staff with a flash drive that has their .pbu file and their .ppue file. So let me explain what that means. The .pbu file is a single file that contains all of your graphics and settings from your photo booth if you're using photo booth upload. So even if at the same activation you're going to have a slow-mo video with multiple speeds throughout it with a graphic overlay, and if you have an animated GIF and morphing with guest placement, everything including those graphics is saved in a single file, so no matter what happens, your staff on site have that on a flash drive. The PPUE file is all of your upload settings from Photo Party Upload, so if you haven't synced your helper and you arrive on site, the staff, and there's no internet, the staff can still load the event settings. So this is one of the most helpful tools in Photo Booth Upload and Photo Party Upload that is one of the most underutilized tools. A lot of people don't know it's there. This will save you. Even if you only have to use it once, it's worth it. It's no cost to you, and I highly recommend you guys do that as well.
Yeah, and guys, bear with us a little bit because in this section it's so important, but we're going to give you a lot of detailed information, so hopefully it saves your butt on site.
Sure.
One of the other things that we do is we have backup equipment for everything. I mean, I'm talking computers, camera, printer, wires, paper, and ink. The one time you need it is going to be the one time you don't have it, and it's going to be one time you're not in a good shape.
Yeah. No, it's so important. Don't skimp on backup equipment, or it will bite you. It will bite you later. The next is, and we have learned this one the hard way, is create an emergency contact list in case, in the unfortunate circumstance where there is an emergency involving one of your staff on site, you know who to contact to get crucial medical information you might need if that person needs to go to the hospital. And likewise, have a staff roster so that if you are in a bind on site, if a staff member doesn't show up or has to leave early, there's one location where you can find contact information for all your staff to try and find an emergency replacement for them.
Yeah, and the next is testing your graphics before the event, all right? We always share a tested sample with the client's approved artwork and we send it to them. Make sure that we're 100%. You don't want any miscommunication, you don't want any surprises when you get on site.
That's really important. And then the last thing is the on-site staff, in our case, are not the same as our logistics or sales team. So that means that if we didn't call our on-site contact before going to the event, their first contact with the people who are working their party would be the face-to-face arrival on site. We don't want that to happen. So we require our on-site staff lead to call the client who will be on staff at the party, the on-site contact, 2 days before the event. This is a chance for them to get to know each other over the phone, to make sure they have each other's cell phone numbers, and once again to review important on-site details that might have slipped through the crack or changed recently. So when our lead for the event, working the event, calls the on-site contact, they're going to review again what time are they supposed to be there, where are they supposed to park, will there be a 10 by 10 space for them, will there be a table for them, access to electricity, and internet needs.
Yeah, and real quick, just to show a sample, when you don't have that call, here's what happens. The lead shows up and they're like, oh, this isn't the space that I was told about, or this isn't what we signed on for, and then they have to really quickly try to figure out. So you want to get rid of all the surprises.
Absolutely. Okay, let's take a look here at what happens next. Before we do that, one more just overarching philosophy. I see on the last point on the slide. It goes without saying, but it is so important, is your staff needs to be ready to be flexible and to adjust to the unexpected things that pop up on site. So make sure that they know that that's one of their job requirements. So you've prepared your client,
Yep.
you've prepared your staff, and
Pitched
now
them.
it's time to party.
Woo!
Yeah, so you're going to head out to the event. There's a few things, still some tips and tricks we have to
Yep.
make sure that that event goes off smoothly. So it's super, for me, it's like sending my kid off to college or something. They're leaving, they're going to the event, I'm not there, but I want some quality control. And so the way we do that is we make sure every single photo from every single party gets uploaded in real time to either a Facebook page or a SmugMug gallery that either myself or someone designated to be the event monitor can watch from their phone and see the quality of every single photo taken and call or text the on-site staff if an adjustment is needed.
It's so important, and when I tell people on the phone with this, they're blown away by the fact that we do this, and we're able to, Brian's able to be away and not have to be at every event. And as you grow as an independent owner, you don't want to end up being at every event. You want to be able to have a dinner with your wife or husband and be able to check in and make sure that all your events are going great and it represents your company.
Yeah, and we want to make sure every part of what we're doing on site is what we had promised to the client ahead of time. And one of those things is upload settings. And so we require our on-site staff before the party starts to send whoever's monitoring the event. So that's right, we have a lifeline on call for every event, and the on-site staff has to send them a test email and upload from the uploading station. And so that's a way for us to make sure there's no typos in the upload settings. The correct graphic was used on an overlay if that's in the upload settings. Just make sure, and that internet is working on site.
Yeah, and then the final thing that we do is we always have the staff send setup shots so that we can see how they've set up, that it's up to our standards and there's going to be no surprises, and then also that the client doesn't go, oh, well, why is that messed up, or
The
it's
wire is
not taped down and
yeah.
all that stuff.
So this is about aesthetics control and making sure your setup looks beautiful. And what we've found, we didn't used to require our staff to take these setup shots and send them to us. Ever since we started doing that, we've had less problems even before making any corrections. And that's because of this saying that I believe is true, which is what you inspect, people respect. Meaning our on-site staff know we're going to inspect the quality of their aesthetic setup. Because they know we're going to be checking into it, they're more likely to do a good job from the beginning. And so we have guidelines we've made for our on-site staff so that when they're trained, they're clear on the expectations. We're going to throw that up on the screen for you right now. So you'll see we ask for a mix of setup shots with no guests in them and then setup shots with guests having fun that we can use later for promotional purposes. So it serves two different needs for LA Photo Party.
Yeah, and I just want to bring up one more time that all these things that we're sharing with you are from us having issues and coming up with solutions over years. So really there's a lot of fun nuggets in here to take away.
Yeah, let's take a look at the next slide. So another thing you can do for quality control is standardizing what your setups look like on site so that your on-site staff aren't figuring it out on the fly. So what I mean by that is we have a floor plan for each of the different types of activations that we do that our on-site staff are trained in. So for example, if we're doing a slow motion video, we're going to need 2 constant lights at 45-degree angles. That setup is done exactly the same every time.
Yeah, and the next thing is hiring charismatic staff. It's so important because we are in the business of giving fun to people when they're taking their photo or GIF or video. And one of the things is when Brian hires people, one of the things he has them do is
job interview.
He has them sing on the phone so that he can see whether or not they're going to be embarrassed or they're going to be able to embrace that kind of creativity and craziness.
Yeah, that's called the International Are You Outgoing test. And it's better than asking someone, hey, are you outgoing? I just say, sing me a song.
I actually rapped on mine, so I'm saying, so it was good.
And he still got hired. It's a miracle.
Yeah,
All
absolutely.
right, back to the point.
Okay. Yeah.
Another thing is that your staff on site are a reflection of your company, so the way they look does matter. And we want to make sure our staff understand the expectations. So we're going to throw up on the screen here the LA Photo Party dress code guide. All of our staff see this guide ahead of time so they know what's expected of them in terms of what they're wearing to the different kinds of events that they might go to. So I recommend your company do this as well. It helps you out, helps your client out, and helps your staff to know the expectations.
Absolutely. And then the important thing is after the party, we're not done yet. After the party, we have this thing called a post-party report form. And this is so important because the boots on the field, the staff that's there, they've seen everything that we didn't see. So they're logging their hours, they're recording any equipment issues that they might have, anything that they saw that might have been an issue.
Yeah, and we were talking about how this webinar is all meant to help you create systems and processes in place that are efficient and remove manual intervention needed from an employee, which saves you costs. So let me give you a great example here. If we have an equipment issue, if we have a printer that jammed at an event, our on-site staff are going to fill out the post-party report the night of the event, and they're going to note that printer issue. Any equipment issues that get reported in the post-party report using the Google form that we made will automatically send an email to our equipment manager, so the next day he knows he needs to address that equipment issue before that photo booth setup goes out again. So there's no manual intervention from me or Chad. No one needs to look it over. Our equipment manager is clear on his role and the expectations that he's going to fix the problem. So it's creating those systems that lets you be more efficient at your job and make more money.
And those systems are important, whether you're the only person going out to an event, or you start to scale
Absolutely.
up and you're doing multiple cities and all this stuff. These systems are going to save you for both.
Yep, that's exactly right. So another thing we do in our post-party report, again, it's a Google form, is we give a section where we ask the on-site staff for any notes about the venue or any notes about working with the client. And that way, next time we work at that venue or with that client, we'll pass those notes on to the staff ahead of time so they can be prepared for things like a difficult load-in or extra stairs or things like that are helpful to know ahead of time.
And the last section is basically, are there any new leads, right? Somebody gave us a business card, somebody's interested, there's a referral. Because doing your event is one of the greatest ways to get new business, and your staff needs to be a reflection of you and be able to take that business card, be polite, and get that lead called the next day.
Absolutely, and we tell our staff that as long as we're not doing a white label event where we're allowed to promote ourselves, the most important thing, it's important to give our business card, but even more important than that is to get the business card from the lead, the person inquiring about our services, to get their information, because again, we're going to call them back within 5 minutes, maybe not on a Saturday night, but first thing on Monday morning.
12:05 a.m.
Yeah, right. Great, and some other things after the party that are really important is the follow-up. So we call every event planner or party planner, we call our contact the next business day, and this is about gratitude, really. This is about thanking them for hiring us, for trusting us to capture photos at this special event for them, and to get any feedback that they might have from the party.
Yeah, and one of the big important things about this is discussing the next event. What's on the horizon. We're pitching again. It doesn't stop, because they had a great experience, then they're going to want to have another great experience with you, and hopefully you're the client that they go to for life.
Yeah, and so the goal here is that the whole process now repeats itself. And you're going to start this over and go back to pitching again.
Full circle.
Full circle.
See how we did that? Nice.
So we wanted to give you those tools and tips and tricks that we've sort of built over 9 years of running LA Photo Party. Our hope, again, is that by helping you be successful, your success and our success are linked. And we like supporting users of our hardware and software solutions. And because of that, we want to get them in your hands right now through our first ever
Flash sale.
Flash sale, that's right. So this is how this is going to work.
Cool. So one of the things we're going to do, we're doing both Infinites and Photo Booth Upload, but for Infinites, what we're doing is something we've never done before, right? So we're doing 100 off per user, per booth, right? So if we sell 3 booths, how much is that off?
So if we sell 3 booths, all 3 of the people who bought the booth each get $300 off.
Well, that's crazy. What if we do 500?
If we do 5 booths, then each of those 5 people each get $500 off the purchase of their Infinite. And one of the things that's really cool is we're going to be able to ship that Infinite to them really quick now. We've got caught up. For those of you who have been following the Infinite madness, we got infinitely behind because we had so many orders. Starting with PBX and not stopping. And so we brought in a massive team. We got caught up and we can ship these out to you really quickly now.
Yeah, and we're going to cap that at 500 off, just so you guys know.
Okay, so if you are in the market for an Infinite, start talking to your friends in the photo booth community, get together. The more of you that buy, the bigger the discount gets.
Yeah, and for Photo Booth Upload, we're going to do 15% off today, and the promo code is going to be webinar, which is a little bit surprising, but that's the promo code, webinar. And this is all taking place today, guys.
Yeah, so if you're looking to get the Swiss Army knife of photo booth software, all you got to do is go to photoboothupload.com. For the Lifetime Pro licenses, type in the promo code webinar when you purchase, and you'll get that 15% discount automatically applied. If you want help With this, if you have questions about the Infinite, we got people monitoring the phones. We're going to throw our contact info up on the screen here for you. Give us a call with any questions. It's one of the things that makes LA Photo Party really unique. It's one of our guiding principles. We have tech support if you need it, by call, by our Facebook fan page, and we're here to help you with any questions that you need. Just pick up the phone and give us a call.
Yeah, and bear with us because I'm sure a lot of calls are going to be coming through. Should we go into the Q&A section?
Yeah, let's see if we have any questions we can that came up during the webinar that we can address for you guys. Let's see. We got David Miller in the studio. It looks like
David Miller to the house.
David Miller, what are some questions people have been asking?
So a few people were talking about all the features with the Infinite and PDU, and if they don't feel comfortable with some of the really advanced features, what's some good advice on how people can kind of learn those advanced features that they don't already know?
Sure, that's a great question. I'm going to repeat the question in case you couldn't hear. So David was mentioning people are really impressed with all of the features that you get in Photo Booth Upload or in your Infinite, but there's so much there, so the question is, how do you learn those advanced features? So one thing I want to mention is when you buy an Infinite from us, we do a 1-hour training demo. It's over screen share so that we can log in remotely to your Infinite and we can walk you through all the different things it does. If you end up with other questions after that, you literally just pick up the phone and call our tech support. They're there to help you. It's 10 to 5 on weekdays, 2 to 6 on weekends. There's also a great online community, the Facebook help group for Photo Party Upload, Photo Booth Upload, and the Infinite. It's a really great community. There's people from all over the world on that help group, so no matter what time you post a question, Elliot Gosling or someone else will chime in and help you out. And lastly, if you go to support.photopartyupload.com, we have a really great searchable database for everything you might need. So if you go on there and type something like slow motion or something like that, you'll see video tutorials for every topic in our software.
Yeah, I just want to add real quick that because it can do so many features, it can kind of seem overwhelming at first. But if a lot of times people will section them off and take it feature by feature, reach out to our tech support or our marketing department and say, how do you guys do light painting? And we'll walk them through that and how to maybe even sell it potentially.
Absolutely. Great. I think that's a really good question, and it's one of the strengths of our software, but it's up to you. If you have a powerful tool, or maybe you could consider a toolbox, and it is important that you learn the tools of your trade so that you can be successful with them. Yeah. Let's see, David Miller, any other questions?
So Aaron asked about the cost of wrapping a booth, and I thought that was a good lead into kind of how you deal with branding versus how you get it versus how you charge for it, and if there's any special deals for Infinite owners with branding that you might want to talk about.
Okay, so I'm going to repeat that question in case you couldn't hear. Aaron was asking about how we charge for vinyl wrapping and how we use that as an upsell tactic.
Yeah, and what happened if you buy a booth, if you get a discount with
right.
all.
Yeah, you want to take that one?
Yeah, well, so first off, if you guys buy a photo booth, we have a partner which is Mike with NovaWorks, and you get a discount on wrapping booths. One of the great things too is that when you're selling to clients, for event planners or marketing agencies, you can use it as a great upsell. One of the things we charge $350 when we sell it to our end users or clients. There's a lot of great things. The branding ability is amazing, and I think a lot of people don't know this, but we give you guys a free marketing package when you buy the Infinite, and in it has a lot of examples of really nice vinyl wraps that you can use to pitch to clients, and you can also create your own on Photoshop or Illustrator and then have it wrapped.
Yeah, so we give you the template so you can design right on top of our template. A great thing about a vinyl wrap upsell is there's no cost to you. You're only going to pay for a vinyl wrap when your customer has ordered it. It's not something you need to keep inventory of, so there's literally no risk. One other thing I wanted to mention on top of the 10% discount with NovaWorks, for anyone who's looking for fun backdrops or really slick green screen backdrops,
right.
Any Infinite owner also gets a 10% discount with Backdrops to Go as well, which is a company that does really great work.
Yeah, I actually have a question that I think some people might want to know. So if I just listened to all this and all this great information, what's my next step?
So your next step, if you don't have Photo Booth Upload or an Infinite, and we have perked your interest in those, go to the website. So photopartystation.com to learn about the Infinite, photoboothupload.com to learn about Photo Booth Upload. One thing that I think is really a great takeaway from this is the survey itself. I think you should use that survey as a roadmap to what you're doing well and what you can improve upon. Another thing is we do have the PDF of this webinar available if you want to take it piece by piece. I'm going to ask David to post the link to the PDF in the comments section, and that way you can download the PDF and digest it on your own time as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
David, how are we looking on questions?
Sure. Jonathan, I think, wanted to know if what printer we recommend using with the Infinite.
Sure. So Jonathan's asking what printer we recommend using with the Infinite. With both photo booth upload and with the Infinite, you can use any Windows printer. We don't lock you into buying a printer from us, and that way you can get the lowest cost printer that's the right fit for your company. We personally use Mitsubishi's, but DNP is also a great company that's really common. We also work a lot with Photo Club and Imaging Spectrum are great resources if you're looking to buy a printer. You should reach out to those guys.
Yeah, and I just want to jump in and add to that a little bit, because a lot of times when talking to people about possibly buying Infinites, they're looking around and they're like, how come there's not a printer built in, or your printer comes with it? Some of what Brian was just talking about. And one of the things that's very important is that maybe not when you're first starting off, but as you grow and you do events with multiple people and lines, and you have to get those lines going through, having the printer right next to the booth can create a huge crowd, and it doesn't help with moving the lines through. So that's why usually we have our printer off to the side and we have the lines moving through.
Yep, that's a good tip. Let's do maybe one or two more questions here, and then we'll keep the chat going.
All right. Deborah wanted to know if there's generic samples of things like animated GIFs and green screens that are available to people.
That's a great question.
Hi, Deborah.
So Deborah was asking if we provide samples for animated GIFs and things like that. So if you buy an Infinite, we do provide graphics that you can use as your green screens. We provide marketing material, photos and videos of the Infinite. For photo booth upload, we don't provide that. But here's the thing that I want to say is it's so important that you make your own samples. So even if we provide basic samples for our Infinite owners, it doesn't make you an expert. And what we were talking about in this webinar today was the importance of being an expert in your industry, being an expert in your own products and features so that you can sell them confidently. So I really recommend setting this up in your office, or even better at a Thanksgiving party or something like that. And so that way you can make your own samples that will also help you become an expert in the features and be confident selling them. When you do get PBU, there are default graphics preloaded. So that's a starting point that we give you. I forgot to mention that before.
I just want to piggyback this point real quick, because I think sometimes when I talk to people that, they're like, do you guys provide everything? And it's not that we don't want to provide everything, but what would happen is if we provide everything for you guys, then you would lose your individuality as a company, right? And it's about how each person sells to their clients. How we're able to separate ourselves from our competition is we go the extra mile, and we pitch and we design and we do all this stuff in our own voice as a company. And it's important to find your own voice as a company, and a lot of these things will help you do that. So
we're supporting you along the way. We got tech support to help you out. We've got this roadmap that we've laid out for you in this webinar. So we got your back, but a lot of the hard work, as you know, is going to be you knocking on doors, making phone calls, and becoming an expert in the products and services that you're selling.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So let's throw up one more question if you got one, David.
Somebody was just asking about how do you light for slow motion. So it's a specific question, but a good one.
Great. So the question was, how do we light slow motion? We use CFL constant lights. We use 2 of them at 45-degree angles. They're pretty inexpensive. I think they're about $70 each on Amazon. And then the Infinite actually has the ability to remove the bounce card, and there's a hole on the top that you can screw a baby pin in, which comes with the Infinite. It's a small pin that goes into the top, and then you can put additional lighting on top of that for a third centered light. So we end up with a 3-light setup, one on top of the Infinite, and 2 constant lights on the side.
Yeah, but for any still photography, the flashes inside of the Infinite with the bounce card is enough to more than light that.
An entire 10-foot green screen. Yeah, all you need is the bounce card if it's a still photo. It's a good point. Okay, so I think we are going to wrap this up, but this has been super fun. I want to thank you all so much Want to give a big shout out to the sponsors we mentioned that help us out with the 10% discounts to benefit you, the Backdrops to Go and NovaWorks. And please stay a part of our community by joining the Photo Party Upload Help Group on Facebook. And lastly, we're going to throw our phone number back on the screen for you one last time so that if you are looking to snag Photo Booth Upload at a great price and the Infinite potentially at a $500 discount, give us a call. We're looking to seal these today for the flash sale to take effect. You want to purchase today, so give us a call. We got your back, and we'd love to see you be successful because, as we always say, our success is linked to your success. Thanks so much. We'll see you next time.
Thanks, guys.